Hope they don't bump into somebody that looks like the guy that didn't sign up for you, Jim. You'll be really in trouble.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you get on a plane with me, I'm accepting that the Americans, the way we're looking at things right now, it's probably the safest time to travel.
All right. Thanks very much, Jim, for your...
All right. Bye.
I think. George is in Riverside. Hi, George.
Dave, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I'm a little confused about something, Dave. Maybe you can help me out with it. It's no secret that Osama bin Laden considers us the great Satan, what have you.
Yeah.
My question is, how did he view us 20 years ago when he was accepting, directly or indirectly, our financing for the war?
Oh, sure. I'm sure he felt the same way.
Really?
Oh, sure. Yeah. How many people do you know who work in this country, George, who take money from a boss they hate?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of it like that.
Right?
Yeah.
How many times you hear people love to go, oh, gee, I hope I see the boss today. Gee, I hope he comes over and busts my crackers at my workstation today.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
I see you later. John is in payphone. Hi, John.
How are you?
Yes, sir.
One thing I just wanted to say, as far as what happened to the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, I mean, it wasn't an act of war. It was an act of terrorism. And I think we're jumping the gun as far as going over there. What people don't realize, they're waving flags. All they're doing is waving a flag for our men to go over there and die is all they're doing.
Well, okay, now let me ask you this, John, then. And I say this respectfully to you. What would you have us do then?
I think they should put most of the money or our forces here to make sure it doesn't happen again, for one thing.
That's a good start, yeah.
And, I mean, as far as the military intelligence, they should be silently tracking bin Laden and catch him by surprise, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, instead of going over there and giving them all the time in the world to hide and know exactly what's going on, and they know how volatile it is over there to start a holy war.
Well, the other thing about this, John, is that, you know, by going over there and doing what's being purported, what's going to happen is the people who the way to get to terrorism is to get to their foundation, get to how get to their money, get to their support in any way. And I think that's people say, well, to get to the snake you got to cut off the head. Not necessarily. Now you have to take away the food and take away their ability to hide. And, you know what I mean? I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stay here and do this like we did in World War II.
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that we were able to send the forces over, and that's it. This is going to be a whole new thing. And I understand what you're saying, and I respect it. However, unfortunately, I think before we get to any of that, we got to let the world know this is not a good idea to ever try this again.
But, I mean, the thing is, when I heard conflicting reports, you read in the paper that Russia lost 400,000 troops over there, and then you see on CNN that it was only 15,000, and they're trying to say that 250,000 were injured. I mean, as far as
you're not going to get the
people being lied to, I really think we are.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. We've been lied to. I mean, we were lied to about Vietnam from the beginning. I mean, even as I've mentioned earlier, McNamara's book, he thought he was going to make all his money on, where he admitted lying to the American public at every turn. If you think, John, how old are you?
31.
31. Well, if you think, you were too young, but if you think that we got the truth about the John Kennedy assassination, kiss me.
It was a blatant lie.
Oh, ridiculous. The miracle bullet and everything else. I mean, that's the other thing that we have to realize. This is one of the reasons we have to make sure that we don't allow something like it happened on the 11th stop us from being real Americans where we challenge, or else we will be the kind of sheep that we're talking about these other people are, right?
When you have the military intelligence, or you can start, I mean, as far as we can, they can, as soon as they can figure out what's going on over there. I mean, the thing is, we're too quick to go into war, I think.
Well, I don't think we're quick to going into war. I think we've had our ass dragged into it, John. In this case, I would agree with you in almost any other instance. But in this case, they have come across the street to punch us in the face. And
I mean, it's not like it's going to happen every day, I wouldn't believe.
Well, John...
But the thing is, too, it's just a couple of buildings and John, a lot of lives, but the thing is...
John, no, John, it isn't just a couple of buildings. It's got nothing to do with the buildings. It's got nothing to do with the lives. It's got to do with the sovereignty of American airspace and the sovereignty of our country. Yeah. It's got to do with hey, John, are you married?
No.
Oh, you got a girlfriend?
Yeah, working on it.
Can I screw her?
Sure.
Oh, good. All right, great. Well, then at least you're consistent. I'll see you, John.
All right.
Bye. 437-0630. Oh, God. 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Well, at least the man is consistent in his approach. By the way, Juan, did you get the number of that guy? 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO, star 630 on your singular wireless. Ben is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Ben.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good. In the light of what happened, I mean, how I feel is this should have been taken care of a while ago. Ever since we had that Middle East, the war we had in the Middle East there in Iraq,
yeah,
I feel that, we should have never let Saddam Hussein get away. I feel that, he's a part of it. I feel that Gaddafi is a part of it from Libya. And, of course, bin Laden is a part of it. But, this has taken many years of planning in order for them to pull off such a feat against the American people. What I feel is that I would like to see no less than, ousting of the government in Afghanistan and, installation of at least a government that's friendly to the region and that's not so extremist.
Well, I got news for you. That's not going to happen because, the people around Afghanistan do not want us running that country. So that's not going to happen.
Well, it's not for the sense that we'd be running their country. It's just that, of course, they...
Well, wait a minute, Ben. If you oust the government, you're running the country.
Well, in a way. I understand your point, but...
it's just not going to happen. I understand your need to feel that way, but it's not going to happen. That's not the way it's going to go. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're just not going to allow that. Well,
probably not, but, even if they, the Taliban regime there is, they're extremists. And, this is going to continue unless...
Well, taking out the Taliban is different than... Yeah. All right, taking out the Taliban is different than running their country, though. Do you know what I'm saying?
The Taliban is running the country as it is now.
I know, but you take them out, then you let them determine who they're going to put in. There's a difference.
There is a regime in the northern part that,
right. They've got their opposition. Yeah, they've got their opposition. There's no doubt about it.
Well, that's what I mean in a sense, whereas, we could help them rebuild their country. And, I guess it would send a message that, the United States isn't going to put up for these extremists.
All right, Ben. I think you make a good point, and I thank you. Dennis is in a cell phone, WPRO. Hi, Dennis.
How you doing, Dave?
Yeah.
Hey, just want to let you know, first off, I listen to your show all the time. I think you're great.
Thank you, sir.
But I just got in the car, and I heard the gentleman who was on earlier about the just being two buildings that were blown up in New York, and I just can't believe that those words came out of his mouth.
This is astounding, and I tried to analogize it to him, and I fell on my face on it.
You were talking to a brick wall.
Well, I just think that people, what happens is that our fear overcomes us.
Yeah.
And we put this case around ourselves, and we want to make believe... let me give you an example, can I?
Sure.
There's a woman, an old lady sitting on a porch, and across the street is a woman of the evening who lives there.
Right.
And she sees a car pull up, and the local rabbi gets out and goes in there, and she's astounded. She said, I can't believe that imagine that, a man at the cloth. And about 2 hours later, the minister goes in there. And she says, oh, my God, is it a Christian minister? That's a horrible thing. And about an hour later, the Catholic priest pulls up in front of the house and goes in. And the woman says, oh, that girl must be awful sick.
Yeah, good point.
And so what happens is, it's only a building, it's only a few lives, What can I tell you, Dennis?
Pure and simple. But I did want to make another statement, Dave,
yep.
and that is, I feel very badly for what's been happening to the Muslims in our homeland.
Yes, sir.
The personal attacks that have been made on them, it's just, we look as bad as they do, in a sense.
We're worse. We're worse because we're screaming everybody's free. So we look worse because at least the people in these other countries don't make a pretense for freedom.
That's right.
We're the ones rattling our sword and banging our garbage can tops and saying we're America, the land of the free, home of the brave, unless you don't sign up.
And people that are committing these acts obviously don't.
Exactly. All right. Thanks a lot, Dennis.
Stay well.
Bye-bye now. Linda's in Providence on WPRO. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I've been here sitting here listening to everybody talk, and And, it's a rotten shame what's going on, you know, and I feel we've been fighting wars since the 70s.
Oh, before that, my dear.
Oh, yeah, way before that, but, still they're not doing anything. They're not doing what they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful that the government's the way they are. They get all this money, they're not doing a whole lot of it. I feel they should have a lot more spies out there doing it up and trying to get something going.
I think we're going to see a great deal of criticism of our, quote, intelligence community.
Yeah, of course.
I think they dropped the ball big time.
I think so, too. I
think that's what we're paying for now.
Yeah. And it just feels like everybody's blocked in, everybody's saying all different things, and it just can't figure it out.
Well, fear will do that to you, you know.
Yeah, it's awful. It's a rotten shame. I sit here, I work 2 jobs, and I try to get on with my life as much as I can.
Yep.
And that's all I hear is everybody can, talking about different things. And
that's what we need to do. We need to get on with our life now. Continue what we're doing, but get on with our life and don't let it stop us. I heard them saying on the news that they weren't going to have the parade in Atlantic City for the Miss America pageant.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, boy, is that a mistake. Is that a mistake? I don't like the Miss America pageant. I think it's a waste of airtime. However, for American citizens to say, oh, no, we better not have a parade on the boardwalk because, they might get mad or they might, that's hideous. I think there is where they've won. They've already won.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Right.
All right, Linda.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
I just hope everything works out fine.
All right, babe. Thanks a lot. Sheila's in Wakefield on WPRO. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I was driving home from work, and I was listening to your show, as I do, and I always think I'm going to call in, and today I decided yes.
Good for you. All right, Sheila. Okay, good for you.
What I was calling about is that how in some places and some hearts in America we've become so hardened against the Arab community and the Muslim community, and I just think it's just such an additional heartbreak for this country. I'm Irish Catholic.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk to you. And Juan, you let an Irish Catholic through on this show. Juan,
The thing is that in the IRA does horrific things.
Yes.
And they bomb in Northern Ireland, or they bomb in England.
All in the name of the Lord.
And the Irish. And the Irish and the Lord, right? Who's got to be Irish?
Yeah, of course.
And I just feel I don't want someone coming up to me and spitting in my face and telling me that I should go back to Ireland.
Well, this is
country.
Well, this is misdirected. Like my friend Jim who called, and he was going to be able to determine who was a real American by who signed up. It's just a misunderstanding of what this country is all about. A total misunderstanding.
And I think it's an additional heartbreak for this country.
Oh, it's awful. And this is where these guys are winning, though. This is exactly where it's happening. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What I'm saying here?
Yes.
This is where, if you're not going to have the Miss America parade on, I couldn't care less about that parade. Now I want it more than ever.
Yeah.
I want them to be out there. I want people to go to the football games. I want people to buy, travel. As Leslie needs a gig. We need to, get people traveling.
Yeah, I have tickets to go and visit my son in Ohio. I'm getting on the plane.
Good for you, babe.
Is that in
Well, the Maine has Maine? Yeah, Maine has a great. Is it Maine or New Hampshire? Live free or die. Maine.
Yeah.
Is it Maine or New Hampshire?
New Hampshire, isn't it?
Live free or die. Right.
Right. Exactly.
At least, the very least you can say about the people on these planes, the people who lost their lives, is that they lived free until the last possible moment of their life. And for you and I to even blink, to even think about not living our life as free as they would have us live it.
And not having every other American who is on this soil and loves this country like every other American have the same respect and rights. That is the terrorism that creeps into the heart of this country.
You're absolutely correct. And they've made us like them.
And you know what? Then the people who died in New York and in Pennsylvania and in Washington will have died for nothing if we turn and start hating each other.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I said.
We will win.
That's exactly correct. And people do not get it.
And I'll tell you, I consider myself an aging hippie. from the Vietnam, the 60s,
Yep.
all 9 yards.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, I am not quick to pick up the sword at all. But I think that the senator from New York, that Charles Schwimmer,
Yeah.
when he said the other day that he ran into a woman in Central Park who's like me,
Yeah.
are we doing the right thing?
Yeah.
All these tit for tat, look at Israel, look at,
Yeah.
England with the Irish, this is going on for years and years. And then he said to her the thing that I'll tell you won me over, which was they went to the World Trade Center and they killed 6 people. Next time they went, they killed 6,000. Next time, how many?
Thank you.
You really have to do something. I don't like being on the side of picking up the sword.
We have no choice. We have no choice, Sheila, and I'm glad you called, and I thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and you have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.
And
oh, beautiful for spacious skies, forever wait on rain.
If you've been thinking about closing our borders, giving up liberties, and just taking orders, if you really believe that the end has begun, then don't bother to stand. They've already won. If you've been talking about waiving your rights because of what happened with those American flights, if your heart's overpowered and your feelings outdone, don't bother to fight. They've already won. If you limit your movement, give up seeing games for fear the arena will burst into flames, if you cancel events and stop having fun, no need to retaliate. They've already won. If you find yourself fearful and mistrust certain men simply because they look just like them, if this is your sole justification to shun, don't bother to enlist. They've already won. But if you've decided they can't change your life, no matter the horror, no matter the strife, if you're determined to keep your world whole and show any enemy you're still in control, then we can vow to every victim as we lay them in their grave that they will rest in peace forever in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Four 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO. Stan is in Portsmouth on WPRO. Hi, Stan.
Good afternoon, Dave.
Yes, sir.
When Jim mentioned about we did allow the Japanese some Japanese to sign up during World War II. I wish, and it's true, but I wish he would learn his history or have finished, because we only allowed them in the European theater, not the Pacific theater.
That's right.
If you really think about it.
That's right.
And then I'm a 20-plus year veteran. I'm retired, okay? And what is wrong with justice instead of war, as our students in Brown and various universities? I don't understand it. It makes sense to me. And I spent those 20-some years so they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand these people. I hate the love it or leave it mentality.
Oh,
and
horrible.
I'm so tired of hearing it.
It's horrible.
I served so these people could do it.
And this country was not founded by people who thought it was fine, and it wasn't made great by people that were perfectly content.
Right.
It was made great by the people that said, wait a minute, there's something seriously wrong here.
Yeah, and maybe we have to change things. Gee.
The interesting thing that I was thinking of an analogy, Stan, about this, and here's an analogy to America. Now, see if this fits for you, okay? You've got a 9-year-old son, and the 9-year-old son's got kind of a mouth on him, okay? And you're in a supermarket, and the 9-year-old son mouths off to an adult, and the adult whacks him in the head. Now, you proceed, Stan, to clean the adult's clock because he's slapped your child. However, you also have the conversation with your son that he is never to talk like that to anybody again.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And this is what we are missing here in this situation is that, yes, we absolutely have to slap this adult. We absolutely have to make sure he never raises his hand to a child before, yours or anybody else's. However, we have to realize that sometimes we have said stuff that has contributed to this craziness.
I do agree. I think we do have to take some sort of action, but I don't think we're too concerned with collateral damage.
No.
Gee, that's a term Timothy McVeigh used.
Imagine that.
Do we want to be like him?
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody that's got short hair and white, maybe we should be checking them out now.
Yeah, maybe, whatever. Okay, I just wanted to mention the Japanese thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you for helping us out. Bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your Singular Wireless. You and me on the radio until 4:30 this afternoon, actually. Red Sox will be on at 4:30. And it's you and me together talking about, obviously, what has happened to our country and how we really feel and what we really... but you got to be careful what you say. Because you just might say something you really mean. You and me on the radio until 4:30 today, Red Sox time on WPRO, special edition of Kane and Company until 4:30, and Mike is in Newport on WPRO. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Dave.
Yes, sir.
I've been listening to your show almost since it started, and I've heard people say things that I felt needed to be said, and I appreciate that. The need to trust people that are, American citizens that deserve trust, that deserve the need to stand together. But what I haven't heard from anybody, and that I think is important in this effort in our war on terrorism, is to take away or to make an effort to take away the hate that engenders terrorism. Osama bin Laden and others like him, they feed on people that hate.
Well, absolutely. Some of the rumors that we've been hearing about how there were Israelis who didn't go to work at the World Trade Center, and so somehow they knew something, but they didn't say. I mean, that's all propaganda crap that will engender this kind of stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, one other thing that occurred to me, and I think it's legitimate, and I just wanted to get it into the public thought.
Okay.
Why not, at the same time we're making military moves to crush out, to bring to justice all these people that would attack civilization and our freedoms, why not make another announcement to the world that we will commit ourselves, we will rededicate ourselves and our wealth to helping those people in Middle East countries to rise from the squalor and from the poverty that they've been living in for the past 50 years.
Well, the reason for that is that, unlike this country, contrary to what Jerry Falwell would like to tell you, unlike this country, their countries are very much religion-based as well. Their government, there's no such thing as separation of church and state. And so a great deal of this would not be possible because it would not be allowed. In order to take money from infidels, etc., I mean... We can talk about this, but whether or not the people in the squalor would ever see the money is another conversation, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is, and I think in any other time, it would be a rather empty gesture and very much rhetoric to talk about helping people in need, because we've been trying to. Part of our foreign policy is trying to help people in need.
The other thing too, but the other thing that just occurred to me as you were speaking is. Here's another problem that we have as Americans, I think. We don't realize something. Those people don't count. I mean, it's not like the great masses would have an uprising and the people in charge in office would be afraid that they're going to lose the next election. Do you know what I'm saying? So they don't care about those people. So there's no pressure from them, from those in the squalor. They have no power, no pressure to change anything as a result of that.
Well, I would submit to you that while they may not listen to the man on the street in Kandahar or wherever else that may be found, the person that they may well listen to is the political leadership of those countries that have committed to help us in this. And I listened to an interview of the ambassador from Pakistan, a woman that she earned my respect in about 5 minutes. She spoke very politely and very firmly to this man that was trying to get her to say something sensational about war and strategy and all that. And he asked her about, well, what do you expect in return? And she came out and said, well, this isn't the time to nickel and dime people. This is the time to stand together. But she did say, she went on to say that she expected that their friends would stand with Pakistan as they stand with us. And she cited the kind of things that I'm citing as the seedbed of terrorism and extremism. If people don't have anything to live for, if they don't have any hope, then what is there for them to do?
I agree. I mean, I totally agree. I just, the realistic side of me says, good luck.
Well,
but I agree with your premise, and
I appreciate your encouragement because I think other people need to hear this.
Yeah, well, I think we should definitely be doing that. It is not my intent in any way to poo-poo what you've said. I think that you make a very good point. Unfortunately, I'm a pragmatist in many areas, and as the world as it stands right now, at least, does not seem like a lot of doors are open for that action. However, maybe we're at the beginning of the change now.
I would certainly hope so.
Me too. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Mike.
Sure thing.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 in your singular wireless. It's interesting how talk radio goes in the space of a couple of hours. When I was on the other night, we had the whack job nutburgers screaming at us. And then we found those who think. Then we found those who are reasonable. Then we found those who are able to view this from more than one side. And we need to be very wise about what we do here. And we need not to even blink for a nanosecond, blink on our rights or our abilities. As Mike said, it wasn't Mike, the previous caller said, my country, love it or leave it, is the dumbest statement ever uttered in the borders of this America of ours. The dumbest statement. Because this country was made great not only by a melting pot of people, but it was made great by people who saw that there was something wrong, who realized that the emperor was naked and pointed it out. By knowing that there were things that were not right, that were not proper, and by fighting for it, to change. That's how America became great. Not by people who didn't like it saying, oh, to hell with it, I'm leaving. America became great by those people who felt they had a gripe and decided they were going to do something about it. Sam is in Pawtucket on WPRO. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I want to take your opinion on that national ID thing that the people talking about.
Well, I don't know. Can we have much more of a national ID? We've got Social Security numbers. We've got driver's licenses. We've got membership cards. You can't get a check cashed in this unless you drive in this country. You can't get paid or get a job unless you have a Social Security number. Not only that, remember for a time, I think it's kind of you had to show that you were an American citizen applying for a job. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was not long ago, right? You had to show that you were really an American citizen. I forget what that was all about, but I remember when I first took the job here, the first time around, I had to prove I was an American citizen. Or something like that. I forget. Huh?
How about the cards that they're looking for, the Arab Americans?
Well, they had that kind of stuff, Sam, in Nazi Germany. The Jews got to wear little yellow stars.
Well, the only problem here, people are not informed how any immigrant comes to become an American.
Yes.
When you first file, you have to get fingerprinted and you get your photos taken.
Yes.
Then you have to write an application where you lived for the past 5 years.
Yes.
Then they give you the first card, and then you have another interview after maybe 3 years or 4 years, whatever. Again, you get fingerprinted, and you have to write for them where you've been for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So the FBI, the U.S. government know where the foreigners are, where they live. They get their fingerprints, they get their pictures. So what the people are talking about?
Well, not only that, but here's the other thing of how naive we are. You know, we're so naive about this stuff. Sam, even if you had done all of that stuff, okay?
Yep.
How do I know, first of all, that you really did? Because if you're a bad guy, if you're a bin Laden member, you have all of the papers.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. I mean, the foolishness to think that we can not be duped with our own paperwork is just silly. I mean, God, I can get any kind of paperwork I want right now to say I'm anybody you want me to be in this country. It can be done with a couple of bucks and the right contacts. I can walk in with an FBI badge tomorrow morning.
And that's what those guys did?
Yes, sir.
On September 11th?
Yes, sir, that's exactly what they did. And, this is how stupid, we're running around. I keep saying it. I don't know if you know about Chicken Little. It's a fairy tale story about a chicken that something drops on his head. I think it was an acorn, and he thinks the sky is falling.
Uh-huh.
So he goes running around, helter-skelter. Oh, let's do this, let's do that, let's get national security cards, let's do this, It's just fear, Sam, and stupidity and ignorance, as you said.
We need to help the economy. The economy is slowing down.
Yes, sir. We need to. That's the one thing we can agree on and need to get cracking immediately.
We are not going to help it by having 7 million Arab Americans not spending, staying home.
You're absolutely right. And if they can't go out safely in America, what does that say about America?
Last night I saw on CNN, he's a businessman. He was flying in Delta, first class, and he's Indian.
Yeah.
The pilot came to him and said, "Sorry, sir, you have to leave my plane. Me and my passengers are not feeling safe to fly with you."
God bless America.
And they got him off.
I'm sure.
That's a businessman flying first class.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they were in first class, but too. I mean, I understand the fear, but somewhere in the middle, we got to find out a way to stop this because it's getting crazy.
We need them to go out, travel. We told them to go live normal life, and when they try, they're getting stopped.
I know, Sam. I wish I have an answer for you. I don't, but I'm glad you continue to call me. Maybe the more people who listen to you will realize, surprisingly, you're just like me. Oh, wait a minute, maybe that's not a plus. You're nothing like me, Sam.
I was told talking to people in the radio will not make any difference.
Oh, then listen.
But,
because
in that case, normally not listening.
Yeah.
But I feel everyone is listening if he talks to his friends, to his neighbors. Everybody will have a positive experience or even a negative experience. If we all talk, we open a dialogue, then people will understand what we are about.
I agree, sir, and I thank you again for your call.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye now. Adrian is in Lincoln on WPRO. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Here, before you, there was a show, The Rational Base for Happiness, and that Dr. Alan Kenner mentioned something that I found very interesting.
Okay.
Namely, the fact that bin Laden might be a big enemy, but a very dangerous enemy is also the intellectuals in America and our universities, humanities departments. It is kind of interesting. That reminded me of what I read in the New York Times.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me hold you there. What do you? How are they an enemy?
In what they teach. Here, let me quote something. What happens?
Okay.
In the September 11th issue of the New York Times, there is a reviewer, an interview with one of the weathermen, Bill Ayers, who is quoted as saying, allegedly having said, "Kill the rich people, break up their cars and apartments, bring the revelation home, kill our parents. That's where it is really at." He is now today a distinguished professor of education at the University of Illinois at Chicago. He's married, by the way, to Bernard Dorr. Maybe people from this area might still remember her.
Yep.
So, just as a little note.
So what's your point? First of all, he is no longer that person because he is now
a distinguished professor.
Yes, and so obviously he is not still espousing that.
You think not?
Well, how could he be, sir? He would be out doing it.
Then there is this.
Well, I'm not, Adrian. I'm confused here. I'm confused here. Are you suggesting that we close?
Multiculturalist.
Are you suggesting that we close the universities?
No.
Well, what then?
maybe, let me say something else.
No. I want you to answer my question. What is your point?
I'm coming to an answer.
No. What is your point? I'm running out of time. What is your point?
The multiculturalists teach our children that there is no right and wrong, that any culture is as good as any other. They tell us that there is no difference between a culture that built glorious temples to man's ability.
Yeah, and so and you disagree with that?
Destroying such a temple.
And you disagree with that?
Yes, of course.
Well, so let me understand this now. So because you disagree with it...
If we still believe the multiculturalist, that there is no right or wrong, that every culture is equal...
I disagree that it says there is no right or wrong, sir. It doesn't say that there is no right or wrong.
Look at the pictures of before...
Well, I got news for you, sir. You are speaking ignorantly because multiculturalism does not suggest there is no right or wrong. It suggests that there is no one way, and there is a difference between those two concepts. So I suggest that you go back and do some studying, sir, and understand about what you speak.
It is moral relativism. It is subjectivism. It means you cannot know what's right and wrong.
Excuse me. Right and wrong, sir, has never been an absolute in this world, ever. Because you can stop 40 people in any country, and they will have a different premise as to what is correct and what is not, sir. So for you to suggest that there is only one right or wrong is folly and ignorant.
No, it is possible to know what's right.
Oh, really? By whose standards, sir?
I went at...
By whose standards do you determine right and wrong, sir? By whose?
Reality.
No. Your concept of reality, not necessarily mine. So what you believe is to be right or wrong is right or wrong for you only.
So there is nothing to be learned from what happened in New York.
That's not what I said at all, sir. I said that your premise, that multiculturalism has no right or wrong concept, is wrong and faulty in its premise.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I know you don't think so. I know you don't think so. But to suggest that the intellectuals...
tolerant.
To suggest that...
I think we should learn to be discriminately intolerant.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, sir. And now you speak to me with an accent. Where are you from?
Because I'm an immigrant.
Oh, no, where are you from?
I grew up in the People's Republic of the Netherlands.
Well, we should never, we shouldn't trust your type. You're not from here, are you? I mean, we should be selectively discriminate, shouldn't we? I mean, shouldn't we by the same token as you're suggesting, I don't even need to listen to you, do I?
I'm sure you will not.
I already have, sir. I haven't heard much, but I've listened. Hello?
There is nothing to say. If there are no standards to measure things by...
Thank you very much. All right. Well, there's nothing to say. There you go. You see, this is one of the problems that we're seeing here. And here's a man that's not, not from this country. He came here, and so it isn't only in this country that we find this. That somebody suggests that there is only one way, one right, one wrong. Where have you heard that before? Blame the intellectuals. Blame the intellectuals for this. It's an interesting concept. I'd like to remind my guest that that was the first thing they did in Nazi Germany. They burned the books. They burned the books. When someone suggests to you that they are the purveyor of all that is right and wrong, that they know that what is right and wrong, they know what is good and what is evil, I suggest to you that you are in deep trouble with that person. Multiculturalists. I also like to suggest to you that maybe you said something in your youth, or said something in a day before you had the experiences you have now had, that you look back on and cringe. And think to yourself, my God, how did I ever do that? How did I ever think that? 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Faulty premises will get you to a terrific end that will be just as faulty. Multiculturalism does not suggest there are no rights and wrongs. It suggests that it is a relative concept. Depending upon your life and experience, I dare say in this world there is no one example of right and wrong. If there were, everybody would agree with us, and the World Trade Centers would still be standing. All right, it's time for us to get into the newsroom. We'll be back on the other side. If you'd like to hold on, other than that, you can call us back. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. We'll be with you till 4:30 today. And then the Red Sox will be on. Magic Wand answering the phone, and it's you and me on the radio whether you like it or not until that time. So hop on the line and we'll do battle. News is up next on WPRO Providence.
Kane and Company is adult in nature and is not suitable for all audiences. The content of this program is one that a truly free society would not attempt to censure or suppress.
437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO, special edition of Kane and Company till 4:30 today. Red Sox time, people waiting on the line. Steve is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Steve. Hello, hello. John is in a car in WPRO. Hi, John.
Hi, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to... I've heard a lot of politicians and a lot of Arab Americans speaking out about, racial profiling and everything. And before I go any further, I want to say I disagree with racial profiling. I think it's a horrible thing. It's very Gestapo-like method of law enforcement. But I haven't heard anything from the Arab American community about what they're doing to try to help this situation themselves, other than espousing how Islam is not a violent language, which I believe and I don't have any problem with. But what I'm wondering is, you hear our CIA has a whole bunch of problems infiltrating organizations, Arab organizations, because they don't have any Arabs in their ranks. In New York City, there are Irish Americans who give money to the IRA, which has never been really a big problem for us because IRA doesn't bother us. I'm sure that there's Arab American communities here that are doing the same things for these Arab terrorists. I mean, it would be foolish to think not. Why would the Irish do it and not the Arabs do it? I'm not trying to...
I understand.
Okay, so what I'm wondering is why you don't hear all these people that have been rounded up around the country, all you ever hear about is the FBI has picked these people up or the police have found these people or whatever. What I'm wondering is why these people don't stand up and say, you know what, we think this guy is on their side. Why don't we hear something like that? They're jumping around saying, we're Americans too, which I believe, and we don't want violence, which I believe, but help us out.
Well, let me ask you this. What is your religion?
Baptist.
You're Baptist.
Yep.
When somebody, when a First Baptist is an example, somebody does something horrible, do you run to the media and say, hey, I'm a Baptist too, but I wouldn't do that?
No.
Oh, no. But you expect people who just happen to share an ethnic background or to somehow have to undo the suspicion that you've already put on them.
No, but on the...
Oh, yes. No, that's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you're doing. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? Why should they have to say, hey, that's not me?
Well, I don't think that they have to, but that's what's happening. I mean, I'm not the one that's going out and walking up to every Arab American I see and say, are you involved in this? No, what I'm saying is that when you watch the news, when you watch the TV, you can't help but come across these people.
But I understand that. I understand that, but it doesn't speak to the issue. Why should somebody have to? First of all, why should somebody have to say that? And secondly, if they have to say it, why would you believe them to begin with?
Well, I agree, but these people who...
You agree with what? You agree with what? I just took away your whole premise, and now you're agreeing with me.
No. What I'm saying is this, is that if somebody's going to stand up there and say, I am not guilty of this, and I don't want anything to do with these people, even though they're from the same ethnic background as I am, okay? That person, whether they're ingenuous or not, okay, whether they mean it or not, the fact of the matter is, I'm assuming that at least some of them do. Okay, all
right, John. That's too silly for me. I'm sorry. You're telling me if they get up and say something I want to hear, whether they mean it or not, I'll feel better.
Well,
do you know how silly that? Listen to you. How silly it sounds. Whether they mean it or not, you'll feel better.
No. What I'm saying is that they should do something instead of just standing up there and saying that, which I agree with you. That doesn't.
Well, you don't have any idea to know what they're doing. Maybe they're doing something. Maybe they're doing something on their own. You've got nothing to do with you. Why do they have to prove to you?
Well, they don't have. Well, I hope they are.
Okay, thank you very much. But your assumption that they're not is insulting to everybody. Thanks, John. Steve is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Good.
Okay, just wanted to remind people as we look back on the last century, lowest point for this country, at least I think, was when we interned a bunch of our own citizens who just happen to be Japanese.
Yes, sir.
Thought that they might be evil.
Yes, sir.
Some way. And, you know, you see people, you know, like your previous caller, demanding some kind of an upfront apology from people who just happen to be Arabic.
Whether they mean it or not, Steve. Steve, you know, whether they mean it or not, right?
It's just it's a very, very troubling situation, regardless of your ethnic background, whether you came over on the Mayflower or you just came over, you know, yesterday.
Right.
You know, we're all the same, we're all equal, and we all need to work together, we all need to treat each other with respect. One observation, though, when you had mentioned how intrusive you thought it would be if we made all the Arabs register.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean it was intrusive. I meant it was stupid. Because, first of all, to suggest that... I know you're talking about it earlier on. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, next time Patrick Kennedy talks about making all gun owners register, or as before talked about a national gun registration, or actually registering the owners, anyone who wanted to own a gun would have to be registered with the government. Yeah. Keep that thought in mind.
Oh no, but Steve, you obviously haven't heard me very much, because I've been talking about bumper stickers. The other really great bumper sticker is, if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have them. I mean, you're not hearing me do that. You're not hearing me on that bandwagon.
No, I've never heard you do that, David.
All right.
I just wanted to make the some of the people that are calling for all of this and saying, well, you know, it's not reasonable, it's overly intrusive, are the same people who would want to have the gun owners.
Yeah, well then, not me. And the other thing, I'll tell you, the other thing I think we ought to put in charge of airport security is Della Patton. See you later. Thanks a lot. Terry is in South Kingston. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
You're on the air.
Oh, thank you. I just want to know how and from where may I get a copy of the recitation that you had made just about 10 minutes ago?
Oh, well, you can, do you have anybody that goes online? No, huh?
No.
I tell you what, why don't you just send me a little note? I'll send you a copy of it.
Well, you're a darling.
Okay,
I will do that.
All right, my name is Dave Kane, Kane.
Say it again. You're speaking to an old lady.
All right, it's Kane, Dave Kane.
K-A-N what?
E. Okay?
Yes.
And you send it to WPRO in Providence, in East Providence.
Yes, East Providence.
Okay? And just put a note in there, and I'll send you your copy.
Well, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
You vote. Bye-bye now. Here's Tim in the car in WPRO. Hey, Tim.
Well, first off, as far as Della Patton, that is the problem. You know, she did have, unfortunately, some drug convictions and some other problems. She wasn't checked out very thoroughly by that private company that hired her.
Yeah.
So we need to probably return to the government, the government in charge of security at our airports.
Well, I think that they should be. I think that the FAA should be in charge of this, and the airline should pay them, reimburse them, and we should have a real screening all the way around.
Yeah, and we also need to improve rail. We need to build railroads. We need to return to buses. We need to do all sorts of things because, you know, flying to New York, you know, for Providence, is practically, you know...
All right, don't be too negative now.
No.
All right, go ahead.
Be negative. Speaking of being negative...
Yes?
If you hear a media person, any media person, who is really harping on the fear factor, then you're listening to a very lazy media person. This station has been very good about giving out news, giving out opinion, and all that stuff, and not drumbeating the fear, because this station wants you to constantly be listening to it, so you've got to be afraid all the time.
Yes.
And I think that's very, very important for people in the media to do that.
I think it's very frightening to hear people suggesting that American citizens should be forced to, as an example, to register. And, you know, well, it's only a car. I mean, the idiocy and stupidity of this.
Well, I think it's hideous to hear so many people, the xenophobia, it's all these foreign students.
Oh, yeah, well, that's it.
People saying we need to kick out all...
Well, the multicultural, the multicultural people, those people that have another idea, boy.
Well, that's the other thing. There is an organized phone bank of people who are neo-Nazis. They love talk radio. They love bringing up, trying to stir up stuff about, it's the Jews' fault, fault, that sort of stuff. They harp on these kinds of things, absolutely, but... I know you're real busy. As far as the students and the interpretive dance and everything, I remember the fact that, I watched last night with all the great artists and people who are involved with the arts field, including you and other people. When we try to do something, oftentimes that's all we have to offer.
Yes.
So if a student at Brown who's majoring in dance feels, well, I can't really do anything, but here's my little gift to you to maybe bring a little bit of joy into your life and everything like that. That's just as valid as anybody else who wants to wave a flag or do anything else. That's their interpretation.
Well, of course, and that's what, I forgive the flag waving here, but that really is what makes America great, is that there are people, in every ball game there's a pitcher and a catcher.
Well, I certainly hope so. When I hear people literally, things like, we need to shut down civil rights, we need to, do this, register people, all of that stuff.
Well, a lot of times that comes from immaturity. It just comes from not having lived the kind of life where you realize how dangerous that can be.
Well, and the fact, there's only one opinion. That's the other thing I've heard. That's the new drumbeat. But there's only one opinion out there, and everybody else doesn't have a legitimate opinion.
Well, I'm glad you don't feel it.
The people who died, all of them have opinions. That's what makes America great.
I thank you very much for your call, sir. Ta-ta. Jack is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Jack.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dave.
I shouldn't say hi, Jack, in a time like this, but go ahead.
Yeah, you shouldn't have. Do you think that these bums, how much do you think they've hurt this country?
Which is that now? The people that pulled this off?
Yeah.
I think they have hurt this country only to the extent that we will allow them to have hurt us. When we start, and I use this as an example because I could care less about this thing, but when we decide that we're not going to have a parade on the boardwalk in Atlantic City for Miss America because we are afraid, then they have really done the damage. So we will decide how much damage we have really had done to us.
Well, you're getting to, and I may be a pessimist here, or I may be looking at just the downside, but I see a lot of the flags and the speeches and but to me, up until this point, up until today, with the stock market obliterated, with people being afraid to go on with their lives, to me it's almost like the Patriots losing 32-0, but then at the press conference, the coach says to the media, something, we won, even though the scoreboard says we didn't.
Yeah, you're sounding a little bit down, Jack, and I can understand your feelings, but the answer to your question to me is that we will decide how much damage has been done. As you pointed out with the Wall Street or with dinner, even something as simple as going out to dinner, going to a movie, enjoying your life, still going out there and mowing your lawn. We will decide how much we are willing to give up over this. And when we decide we're not willing to give up a goddamn thing, then we will be back to America.
Well, at that point, then I will be convinced. But up until then, I'm not.
Well, you start, Jack. You going out to dinner tonight?
I'm living my life as
there you go. Before. There you go. That's all you got to do, Jack. And when other people get over their fear and get over their shock and realize that this too will pass, we'll get back to America. And I know it'll be sooner than later.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Jack. Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. It is very difficult to overcome the fear. Everybody has been afraid before in wars. Well, because you're going to take your son and go over there. They brought it across the street now. But Jack's question is a good one. How much damage did they really do? That damage is yet to be determined. Aside from the loss of lives, aside from the loss of real estate, aside from the loss of our common sense, we will determine how much we have been damaged. We will make that determination, and we will make it by our response to this, not just in the theater of war, but in our actions, in our lifestyle, in our approach, in our decisions, in our purchases, in our support, in our hearts, and in our attitudes. That and only that will be the determining factor. You and me on the radio till 4:30 today, Red Sox time. Magic One answering the phone and your calls. Here in America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, where freedom of speech is still alive and well. Here's Ben in Brookline on WPRO. Hi, Ben.
Howdy. Hey, I've got to say this, and this is not flattery. You're the most intelligent talk hostess, that I've heard in the entire time I've ever listened to talk radio, and that's saying something.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And the reason I say that, I don't use the word intelligence loosely. I mean that you have been able to cut through the absurdities, the logicalities. I mean, you must be Mr. Spock himself, with a touch of Kirk thrown in, because you have an intuitive savvy about you, too. Now, this is not flattery. It's a pleasure to hear somebody cut through the thicket of nonsense. I've watched all the anchors. I'm retired now. I've watched all the anchors discuss what just happened,
yes,
discuss the history of it, discuss what we might do in the future. I've only heard 3 people, actually, who made any sense whatever, and even that wasn't completely, totally together. I mean, they still were somewhere. They went off the trail.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how you do it, but I'm curious about one thing. Have you ever studied general semantics?
Have I studied general semantics?
Yeah.
Well, I live my life under general semantics.
Well, I know you do.
It's a lifestyle, you know. Well, it's always been my I don't know. I think I got a lot of it from Mom. You know, she taught me to see it from try to see it from all sides,
well,
and see
true.
how I'm not better than somebody else.
Right. That's humility is the first step toward.
But how I'm the same too, and how when I say, well, you know, he wants to do this, but and then you realize that you're doing the same thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, relatively.
Thank you, Ben, for you read the note just the way I wrote it.
Let me just say one other thing too. There is more to it, obviously, than just being a scholar, or because a lot of these guys are professors and they make no sense whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, they may have a stack of PhDs.
Yeah.
And many of the people are well read in the subject, but it seems as though there is a human desire to make things the way we want them. That is called reality, whereas actuality is the way it really plays out. And if we can ever come to grips with actuality, what I'm amazed by particularly is recently, physicists have been arguing among themselves. Now, these guys are all brilliant mathematicians and physicists who are using it for a purpose.
Yeah.
When it comes to string theory and chaos theory, there are still arguments as to what the meaning of the math is, and since it may take a long, long time to have experiments that can, let's say, work each time they pull that particular experiment, the scientists are even arguing among themselves as to what they mean by what they mean.
Thanks, Ben. I got to go.
Okay.
Thank you for your call, sir.
Great hearing you.
Bye-bye now. Here's Assam in a car. Hi, Assam.
Hi. How you doing, Dave?
Good, thank you.
I am actually a Syrian American. I just want to let you know that we love this country.
Yes, sir.
And we love the democracy, and we love the freedom. And it's so sad what's happened.
Well, you wouldn't be here. I mean, in most cases, right, Assam, you wouldn't be here unless you loved it, right?
Of course. And we stand by this country, and we want to help. Actually, I'm a doctor. Myself, I called the American Dental Association, offered my service as a forensic dentist. We want to help. We try to help. The media is being on us all this time. And
yes.
I appreciate your program. It's a positive,
Well, I'm only trying to do what I think Americans, true Americans, real Americans who understand their Constitution, understand their Bill of Rights, understand what this country was really built on, what that response should be. And I'm not seeing it from a lot of these crazy, fearful nutburgers who are going around and saying anybody that looks like you, Hassan, must be out to cut my throat.
Yeah, I mean, not all the Italians are mafia, not all the Irish are IRA, and not all the Arabs are Osama bin Laden.
I know that.
We all American. We love this country. We're going to put this country back, hopefully. And as I said, I mean, we should really look forward and don't be afraid.
That's right. Don't be afraid. Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Here she is in Coventry.
Yakshamash.
Yakshamash, baby.
I didn't know you were going to be on.
Well, I'm just snuck on for a little while until 4:30.
Yeah, you're not. I was going to put you on at 4, and I just got a heck of it. I put it on 3, and I heard your voice. I thought
I'm glad
it was
you did. I'm glad you did.
What the heck? Well, how'd that happen?
It's a long story, Mary. Honey, I'm kind of full up today. What can I do for you?
Well, that's what I just wanted to know.
I just wanted to know. Well, I'm going to be on till 4:30, and the game's on at 4:30.
Oh.
Okay?
You'll be on tomorrow at 10?
Tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Because when you were around the other night, 8 o'clock, I was very exhausted. I could hardly listen. I was all tired out.
Okay, honey.
From all this, you know what?
I know. All right, honey. Thanks a lot.
Aggression.
All right.
Governor in Polish.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Here's Bill in Fall River on WPRO. Hey, Bill.
Dave, how are you? Long time no talk.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I'm professional military. I'm retired now. My son is over there.
Yes. Over where?
In Saudi.
Okay.
But to kind of give you maybe a little perspective on this, okay, I've been around town here in Fall River, been to the little demonstration that they had, down here at City Hall. And I appreciate it. I really do. And but something people have to understand here is that this is going to be a very long, bloody fight.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect a quick 2-year in and out or a 100-day electronic arcade game shooting show like we had in Desert Storm.
Yeah, we had that, and we see how effective that was, right?
The people that we send over there, as important as they are not the ones who are going to win this war. The civilian population here is the one that's going to win it.
That's right.
Americans have to be able to sit down and ask themselves how willing they are to bleed.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is going to involve a type of war that culturally and historically Americans haven't liked.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a hatchet fight. That's about what it's going to be like.
Mm.
And if America...
and bleed in the sense of not just, of course, our boys and women bleeding, but also bleeding economically.
Yes.
Bleeding socially already. We're already bleeding socially.
The best way to stop the economic bleeding is to go out and buy stuff.
That's right.
Go out and buy yourself $4,000 worth of Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did last week.
Or airport security stock.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Having said all that, I listened to your Dr. Hassan. I'm married into an Arab American community.
Yes, sir.
They're Lebanese. And something, from my perception here, okay?
Yeah.
The Arab Americans in this country, like the Islamics in this country, are in many ways just like the first Puritans that came to Plymouth Rock. They're strangers in a strange land. Just like the Irish who came here,
mm-hmm.
who resented and feared because they were Catholics, because people thought they had prior alliances to Rome.
Yes.
And as long as they cloister themselves and keep themselves to themselves, they're hurting themselves. They've got to branch out and fan out and speak like this doctor has done, so that they can allay the fears of people.
Yes, I agree. I think that they should. However, I don't think they should be in this position of having to say, "Oh, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me."
Absolutely.
I mean, it's okay to make the point initially, but then, as the doctor has said, let's talk about common ground. Let's try to make something happen so that we are not continually ignorant, as this country has been from its inception, about how you got to be different than me.
And I think, like the Irish who died in the cornfields at Gettysburg.
Yes.
It's going to take, unfortunately, it's going to take
a lot, Bill. But we can do it, babe.
It's going to take some Arab American private in the Marine Corps.
Yes.
Going up Suribachi.
Yes.
Before everybody understands.
You are absolutely correct. Your picture is horrible as it is right on the mark.
It's not necessarily the way things should be, but it is the way they are.
Yep.
As long as we understand that, we'll be all right.
When we realize how many Japanese Americans died in World War II.
Oh, you take the 442nd Nisei Combat Division.
That's exactly right.
Most heavily decorated infantry unit in the United States
exactly
Army.
Right. So we got to learn. Someday we'll learn. But, it doesn't seem like we ever do, does it, Bill?
We will.
It seems like we never do.
One of the senses I get out of this whole thing Okay? Forgive my emotion.
That's okay.
One of the things I get out of this whole thing is a very imperceptible sea change towards globalism.
Yes.
Globalism in a positive sense. I'm not talking about global economics.
Right. No, in a positive sense, right.
Because a lot of people, I think, heard the president, but they didn't listen to him in his speech. He said terrorism in very unqualified words. In other words, what goes on in the slums of Belfast can't be tolerated tomorrow in Mexico City, because terrorism, which goes on Damascus, affects that which goes on in Montana, and the face of terrorism it has no face, and it affects everybody.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 and your singular wireless. Dave came with you until 4:30 today, till 4:30. And at 4:30, the Red Sox will be on the radio. Okay, all right. Louis is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Louis.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Just wondering, I've watched a special on Channel 2 a couple of years back on the making of skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've never heard anybody talk about it, but when they were making it, they were saying that on each level, on the corners, on the beams, they were putting explosive in, that if in case anything ever toppled over sideways, the levels would drop upon themselves.
Oh, they would implode. Yep.
That is correct?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I understand. I'm just saying I understand what you're saying, that they would implode. Yeah.
Because I've never heard anybody talking about it.
Me either. That's the first time I've heard it. But I mean, as you were explaining it, I just presumed that they would use it in an attempt to, implode the building, bring it down inside itself.
Yeah, so it cause less damage, right?
Yeah.
On the rest of the building.
I don't know. Maybe somebody else heard it, Louis. Let's find out, because that's very interesting to me.
Okay. Thanks a lot for talking to me.
Thank you for your call. Bye-bye. Joe is in Bristol on WPRO. Hi, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
No, I'm Dave. You're Joe.
Oh, how you doing, Dave?
Yeah, good.
Now, what's the problem with that guy? That guy's crazy. He's putting bombs and stuff like that on those planes.
No. You misunderstood. What did you call about, Joe?
I'm calling to tell you guys that I don't like that kid, that Bin Laden. That guy's crazy.
Yeah.
You understand? And I don't understand why you hijack those planes to do that. I mean, that guy is nuts, or what the hell's going on with him?
Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate your contribution. A fine one it is. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 and your singular wireless.
You're listening to Dave Kane on WPRO. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 on the singular wireless system.
You and me on the radio until 4:30 today, and Red Sox will be up at 4:30. Magic Wand answering the phones, and the phones are clear for the first time today. Phones are clear. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 and your singular wireless. The calls today have run the gamut from absolute idiocy to truly moving, truly inspirational thought process, compassion, understanding. You like to think that Americans were brighter than some of the calls I've gotten today. You would like to think that they had a tinge of a clue. Because, you see, that is where our damage will come from. It isn't going to be what people attempt to do to us. It's what we do to ourselves as a result. Maybe we could mitigate our damages if we just chip in and buy a clue. Kathy is in Pawtucket on WPRO. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
I've kind of begged off all week, talk radio. I just didn't want to hear so much of the rhetoric and the stupidity. The first day or two I did, but I just said I can't. Mm-hmm. I'd rather spend the time educating myself and reading. And
it shows how really foolish we are as Americans.
Myself and thinking.
It really shows how really foolish we are as Americans.
And, if people really wanted to plug in to the world around them. It wouldn't have taken an incident like this to have us do it. I mean, there are forums all over. I mean, we live around some of the greatest educational institutions in this country, Harvard, Brown. I mean, there are all the time in the paper. They list guest speakers who come around and talk on everything from international policy, all kinds of things. There are forums at your kid's school when they're changing curriculum or whatever. How many of you people out there have really taken the time to inform themselves of what's going on in their local community, in their kids' school? We have become so self-involved as a people that a long time ago, we pulled the blinds down and said, well, as long as I pay my taxes, I'll have the best security and I'll have the best everything. And I don't have to worry about all this stuff because we're armed to the teeth and we don't... And this whole incident is a wake-up call to all of us that, how many of us didn't vote in the last election? Who said, what's going on with our government doesn't matter. Well, look at this situation. Do you know who's running your government today? Who's making the decisions that we're going to live with? If you didn't vote, I don't want to hear you bitching about what they are or not doing because you didn't even bother to go and vote. And I get angry with these people who think putting a flag on their car or their house is going to make them feel better when they didn't even bother to participate in the process at any step or at any level.
Okay. I thank you.
Yep.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. Star 630 in your singular wireless. You and me on the radio until 4:30 today. Till 4:30, and then Red Sox will be by at 4:30. In the meantime, we invite you to get on the line. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO. Star 630 on your singular wireless. Okay? Okay.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, forever wait on there.
If you've been thinking about closing our borders, giving up liberties, and just taking orders, if you really believe that the end has begun, then don't bother to stand. They've already won. If you've been talking about waiving your rights because of what happened with those American flights, if your heart's overpowered and your feelings outdone, don't bother to fight. They've already won. If you limit your movement, give up seeing games for fear the arena will burst into flames, if you cancel events and stop having fun, no need to retaliate. They've already won. If you find yourself fearful and mistrust certain men simply because they look just like them, if this is your sole justification to shun, don't bother to enlist. They've already won. But if you've decided that they can't change your life, no matter the horror, no matter the strife, if you've determined to keep your world whole and show any enemy you're still in control, then we can vow to every victim as we lay them in their grave that they will rest in peace forever in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Seven 0630 telephone number to call. Manny's in Cranston on WPRO. Hi, Manny.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
First time caller.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear somebody on the radio that's not espousing the fear factor that you hear so much today. People should not fear this. They should respect, what's happened. But to fear it is not the thing to do. We've got to get out there. We've got to do our daily routine. We've got to live our normal lives. People have got to get back to some semblance of normalcy.
Yes.
Because when you don't, they win.
That's exactly right. Exactly what I was just saying. They win. It's over. And if we hand it to them, then we have handed it to them. A guy called me earlier and said, how much damage have they really done? We'll be the determining factor of that.
Damn straight.
We will decide how much damage they've done. We'll decide if we go to the Cumberland Farms at 11 o'clock tonight for fear that the guy who's behind the counter looks Indian or Arab or whatever. We'll decide that.
That's right. And, I'm a 10-year Marine Corps veteran.
Yes, sir.
And, the country can rest assured that you can look at Afghanistan as a big baseball field, and they got all the bases covered. And wherever he's going, if he has already gone, they got him in their crosshairs.
Yeah.
This guy is not getting away. The Taliban isn't getting away. None of these people are going to get away. And it's time that we just took a hard look at ourselves and say, hey, what the hell are we afraid of here?
Exactly.
You know, they're like an ant crawling up the Statue of Liberty's torch with the expectation of putting it out and snuffing out freedom.
Well,
guess what? When they get there, they're going to find a hot-ass fire.
Well, that's exactly right, and I hope that we can make sure that everybody knows that and moves on it. Thank you so much, Manny.
Thank you.
Joe's in East Providence on WPRO. Hi, Joe.
I just want to tell you what I'm afraid of.
Yeah?
What I'm afraid of is biological weapons.
Yeah, why?
And they have the opportunity, and they got the the ability to use those weapons.
So what do you think we ought to do?
I think this is just, you think this is...
So what do you think we ought to do, Joe?
Excuse me, can I talk?
I want to know what you think we ought to do.
Well, I'm just telling you what I'm afraid of.
Well, all right, so what we should do about it?
The only thing we can do is call upon a higher power to counter these people, because I don't think we can stop those things from happening.
Okay, Joe, thanks very much for your courage. Chris is in Smithfield on WPRO. Hi, Chris.
How you doing, Dave?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking for an answer.
Oh, good. I've got an answer. Let's see if it matches.
Okay.
All right.
If you can't help me, one of the viewers can help. You keep talking about the Quran and how they're doing this in the name of Allah and killing themselves, and apparently they're going to, get to this, part of heaven, whatever part they're going to go to. I don't know what it is, but is that in the Quran?
No.
So if these people live by the Quran and they're getting these extremist views, where are they getting?
Well, let me ask you this. Are you a Christian?
I'm a Catholic, but I'm not practicing at all.
All right, but Christians wouldn't think you were really a Christian, by the way, if you're a Catholic. But
that's okay.
How about these Christians, born again, fundamentalists, whoever, who think it's okay to bomb an abortion clinic? It's the same kind of whack job presentation, isn't it?
I would assume so.
Yes.
But
So just because somebody claims to be a Christian or claims to be a Muslim or claims to be whatever the hell they claim to be, a squeegee, whatever the hell they claim, doesn't necessarily mean they are, number one. Number two, we have seen people using these types of beliefs for their own purposes from the beginning of time, including the Inquisition and the Crusades. So it really is not about understanding the religion, although we certainly can, and I think we should. It is about understanding that these people have taken the tenets of these religions and used them for their own purpose and bastardized them for their own purpose. And there's a sucker born every minute. So being able to screw somebody into getting in a plane and driving it into a building because they've been taught that this is okay, this has gone on from the beginning of time.
So it's pretty much just mass brainwashing.
Well, it's not even mass brainwashing, just a few people. You only need a couple. You only needed one whack job, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. 437, and Ray is on a payphone on WPRO. Hi, Ray.
Hey, Dave.
Hey.
You know what's going to come back is humor.
Yeah, I know. We got to get a couple of... I know.
I mean,
you're absolutely right.
I turned on Letterman the other day, and he was hugging Dan Rather. Now, Dan Rather's a cute-looking guy, but, I mean, I'm make fun of Dan Rather.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you think Letterman could do better than that.
I mean, a positive thing was that New York is back.
Oh, yeah, with Eliza. Did you see her?
Did you notice that was on the voluntarily banned list? You know that 125 songs that record producers voluntarily banned? AC/DC's Back in Black and a couple of others. But New York was on there.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I saw it. Is she rough?
Well, she's had it tough. She had a stroke. And
I'll tell you something. She looked rough. She sang it rough. I loved every word of it.
Yeah, it was still good. I mean, there's a woman that's come back from knocking on heaven's door, boy.
Yeah.
You got to give her credit because she was very sick. She had a stroke. She's had both her hips replaced. She's been, you can just tell she's just starting to bring it back.
Oh, and I was flipping back and forth. I don't want to miss that. She really gave New York a boost, I'll tell you. But I think that if we can somehow or another get a joke back in here, and even if we got to go back to telling the old jokes or something.
That's right, Ray. You're absolutely right. Laughter is God's gift, and it's God's own anesthesia. We can make it happen. And listen, you want a good laugh, Ray?
Yes.
Look in the mirror. See you later. Robert's in Exeter. Hi, Robert.
Hey, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I wanted to pose not a question so much as I just heard you speaking with a gentleman, and he mentioned something that I haven't heard too much about.
Yeah.
And it's a little concerning. The gentleman mentioned biological weapons.
Yes.
And I'm almost afraid to say it because you're in the media, and of course, millions of people on your show anyway, right? But, I haven't heard too much about it, and yet it's the only thing that I'm really afraid of right now because it's the only thing, as I say, we haven't heard too much about it, and yet we know they're capable. We know they're willing to do anything. And it's like, what do you do? Well, believe me, I'm not saying let's not go in there and get them.
No, I know what you mean. I know that, yeah.
But it's like...
Well, here's the thing. First of all, this has been a giant wake-up call, hasn't it?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
So, I think that what we're looking at here, it isn't just you or just, the other guy that called. Not only the millions of Americans, but the people in charge are well aware. Well aware of this. Oh,
is that why they're not mentioning it on the...
Well, that may be. It may be. Here's another thing that's interesting. I heard somebody call the other day and say, why are they saying this and saying that on the radio? There are two reasons, radio or TV, whatever. There are two reasons. First of all, America still has allegedly the freest country in the world, and we have the right to know. But on top of that, before it ever hits the media, our enemies already know it.
Yeah.
Do you know this thing about, they shouldn't say that the vice president is here? Before anybody in the media ever knew it, our enemies already knew it.
Well, I don't know if I'm agreeing or disagreeing with you about the right to know, because I've sat here and watched enough of the media and thought to myself, we don't need to know what they're doing.
Well, listen, I'll give you an example.
I want to know because I want to make sure they do it in secret.
Well, I think that
themselves.
Well, let me modify that for you then. I think that we always have the right to know.
Right.
Whether or not it's now is another question. And one of the things that was reported the other day, and I've been in the media all of my life, one of the things that was reported that I couldn't understand why was that the plane in Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, excuse me, hit the ground.
Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania.
No, but I don't think it would land near Philly. I'm talking about,
Gotcha.
Landed, hit the ground at 500 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I need to know that. I don't know why that. I don't know what the point is of that.
I don't need to know.
Except to suggest to me that, they were diving or whatever. I don't know if there was one of those little pieces of information that I really didn't. It didn't make any difference to me one way or the other. 500 or 800 or
about 70% of the information the media gave me in the last 10, 12
yeah,
days.
But you need to realize, however, that if they didn't give out this information, people would be wondering, why are we being kept in the dark? Right. Secondly, there is a lot of airtime to fill.
Sure.
Especially when networks go to an all-news situation, there are hours and hours and hours of air. Now, I can tell you, I'm doing a talk show. It's tough to fill 3 hours sometimes.
What do you want me to do, talk slower?
You talk slower. Thank you, Rob. The only reason I have you talk slower is so I could understand you.
Yeah, right.
I'm not terrible bright, you know what I mean?
The only reason I just tuned you in, and I heard the gentleman get cut off pretty quick that mentioned that.
Well, because
and it's almost as if I haven't heard much about it.
It's
either.
fine to do, but I wanted to get him off onto now what? Okay, you're afraid, now what? And we would just.
The answer I have for now what is go out and buy a gas. Well, I don't know if gas masks don't help you with biologics.
No.
It's only for chemical.
Yeah. Well, I think that instead of doing that, I think we should just start living our lives again. And see what we can do. Don't be naysayers here.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, thanks for your call.
Yeah, you have a good one.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. Who's on my radio? Hello?
Hello, it's Bill calling from McCarphone.
Hi, Bill. How are you? You're on WPRO. Go ahead.
Yeah, pretty good. I've heard a lot about the security at these major airports. I'd like to give you a real good example. Are they going to do anything about the security or something like our North Central Airport up we have here?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I hadn't thought about that.
And, what is the thing of, somebody, of how much damage could a hijacked Learjet, say something like the Learjet for gas could do? Does anybody put up that kind of security at all?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess I think the FAA is going to be cracking down on a lot of stuff, and that's an interesting thing to talk about because they're also harbored under the same agency.
In the course of my work, I've driven right out in the runway to help somebody out of their out of their way.
Oh, sure.
Take them to Green Airport or something like that.
Absolutely.
And without absolutely any challenge.
Well, you know, I was in the I was in the convention center the other day, and there was some kind of a convention going on, and I had some time to kill, and I went up there, and you needed a badge to get into this because you had to pay to go in. And I started to walk toward the main door of the convention center to go into the room, go into the hall, and a security guard approached me, and I just smiled and said, "Hi, how you doing?" And she smiled, and she said, "Oh, hi," and I walked right by her.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this is safe. All right, thanks a lot, Bill.
Okay.
Bye. Amy's in the car in WPRO. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Hi.
I was calling. I wanted to correct you and say that I'm offended by your comment when you said, I am a born-again Christian fundamentalist, and I do not believe it's right to bomb abortion clinics.
Right.
So not all of us do that.
No, of course not. That was my point, ma'am. You obviously weren't paying attention. You obviously were not paying attention, were you? Because that's not what I said.
Was.
No, you weren't, obviously.
You were comparing that.
I was comparing those nutburgers who claim born-again Christianity for their right to do that with the nutburgers who say they are members of the Islamic faith and do what these people did.
Right.
So they are not born-again Christians, really, are they?
No.
Oh, no, and that was my point, Amy.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
I'll take an apology, Amy. Amy, I'll take an apology.
I'm not apologizing.
Oh, you're not apologizing for misunderstanding what I said?
I apologize for misunderstanding what you said.
God bless you. All right. Keep listening, baby. Put your ears on. Put your ears on. Artie's in Central Falls on WPRO. Hi, Artie.
Hi, how you doing? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Actually, the good afternoon. It's that tragic from what happened last week.
That's right.
You know, I was in WW2. And I am ready to volunteer my services, my expertise, and my skills.
Okay, what kind of work did you do in WW2?
I was in the Air Force. I wasn't a pilot, though.
Uh-huh.
I was supplying them. I was helping. I did the best I could.
And you're ready to go again, right, Art?
I'm ready to go. I want to leave today. I want to go get them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got to find out who to go get, and we'll see what we can do, okay, Art?
And I'm ready. You let me know.
All right. Thank you, sir. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 in your singular wireless. You see, there's a problem. We do not listen to each other. We do not listen to each other. We come in on a conversation that's half over, three-quarters over. By the way, we're going to be on the air till 4:30 today. And Red Sox on at 4:30, so you still have a half hour at the end of the hour, when we're coming up on the hour here. But you have, see, this is the problem, you know. Everybody's talking, very few people really listening. People saying things and they don't, well, I don't know what I mean to say. Or maybe it is what you mean to say. Maybe it is indeed what you mean to say. You don't know it's what you mean to say, but it's what you mean to say. We decide on labels. We decide that, well, if somebody's an Islamic, a member of the Muslim faith, and obviously they're all bad if this guy does this. This kind of narrow-minded foolishness. The hatred that is displayed by people who claim to be born again. The injustice, the intolerance, the violence displayed by these people who claim to be fundamentalists or born-again Christians. Giving a black eye and a bad rap to everybody who has ever claimed to be born again. The same thing is true in this case with our poor brethren who are members of the Muslim religion who are being treated so horribly by American citizens who claim to know what's going on. And of course they don't. They have no clue. You know, it's funny. We go through a shopping center. We go into a supermarket. And we know where the rice is because it's marked on the box. We know where the diet food is because it's marked on the box. We know what aisle to go on because it's up on big signs. We're a label society. We are a label society. We think that if we see a label, we know exactly what the content is. And we think that one box of rice is just like another box. Or is it? You better think again. You better think again. It is time for us to get into the newsroom. We'll be back on the other side of the last half hour of Kane and Company. We're on the air until 4:30 today. Magic One answering the phones, and I'll invite you to join us then. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, and star 630 on your singular wireless. We have another half hour, and the Red Sox will be up at 4:30 today here on WPRO in Providencia. And then tomorrow, you and I together, of course, at 10 a.m. Okay? Okay.
Kane and Company is adult in nature and is not suitable for all audiences. The content of this program is one that a truly free society would not attempt to censure or suppress.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 in your singular wireless. Final half hour of special edition of Kane and Company. We've been on since 1 o'clock this afternoon, and we will be here until 4:30. And the Red Sox will play at 4:30. And until then, the lines are open. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Magic One answering the phone. It's you and me together for the next half hour. So I invite you to get on the line and talk to me about anything that's on your mind. Think we can do business? Think we can do battle? Oh, battle? Maybe. Jim is in Warwick on WPRO. Hi, Jim.
Hello, David.
Yes, sir.
The reason I called, a long time ago, back in the 1950s, there was a book that was written that I was introduced to when I was a very young student, and it was called Thinking Like Savages by Sessha Hayakawa.
Yeah.
And I think how accurate that is when you apply it to the way our culture has evolved. You know, people are looked at based on what kind of car they drive, what kind of house they live in, and they're assigned values as to their worth. And I think that that book would be a good book to go back and reread.
All right, by Sessha Hayakawa, and the name of the book was Thinking Like Savages.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Thinking like savages. You're hearing a lot of thinking like savages in this country these days. Running around like Chicken Little. Sky is falling, the sky is falling. Everybody that looks like them, Well, I better not go there because, you know. I mean, when you stop and think, now think about this. I mean, I cannot tell you how inane and pointless I have always thought the Miss America pageant was. Always. I just never cared for it. But when the producers of the Miss America pageant decide that they cannot have their usual promotional parade on the boardwalk at Atlantic City because they are afraid, that is the damage done. When Jack called and said, what kind of damage do you think has been done? That is the damage done, Jack. We will determine what damage will be. You know what this is like? Let me tell you something. You know what this is like? This is like if you had a bully, and the bully had a big stick, and he stood in front of you and whacked you on the head with a stick repeatedly. And then he said to you, listen, I got to go to lunch. Here, you do it until I come back. And then you take the stick and hit yourself in the head until he comes back from lunch. That's what this is. That's what this is. We have determined that we will decide what the damage will be. We have determined that we will decide that we are more injured than we need be. That we will lay down and lick our wounds and cry and whine and say to everybody, look, see, that was it. We will determine what our damage is. If we decide to allow ourselves to be immobilized, if we decide to allow ourselves to be done in, to be beaten up, to be frightened into submission, to run us under the covers, under the bed with the lights out? If we decide to let that happen, we will get what do we deserve. But if you decide that you are indeed going to keep our country great, you are indeed going to demand what you have been brought up with, what you have treasured, what thousands of Americans have died for, if you demand to maintain, hold on to, grab, ensconce, wrestle, hug, and bite into what you've already known, and refuse to let it go, then your damage will be greatly diminished. Anything else? We get what we deserve. Peter is in Chepachet on WPRO. Hi, Pete.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, sir.
A couple of things. I just came from the Providence Place mall.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's if you know the place is jammed. So
great.
So the people in this area are doing their bit to keep the economy moving.
Great, terrific.
One other thought, you would. I think it's a bad comparison to compare these the attackers to abortion clinic attackers. I mean, that you feel that there's perhaps a bit of irony in thinking of abortion clinics in the same thought.
Why do you say that?
What do abortion clinics do?
My point, sir, is that if somebody is against the taking of life, especially, quote, innocent life, and they bomb an abortion clinic,
right,
where someone just has a job, has nothing to do with the abortions, someone that might be sitting there with a friend,
right,
somebody who might just be there painting the hall,
right,
their life is taken. Is that a Christian act, sir?
Dreadful thing to do.
Is that yeah? So my point is that these people are not Christians that do this. They claim Christianity. They claim God. But then again, so did the people that drove into the towers, right?
I haven't heard the same claim from those folks.
Oh, really? Pick up a paper. Take a look.
Well, I don't think you find any of the Right to Life group bombing abortion clinics.
No, you wouldn't. But you'll have people that will claim the Right to Life group, won't you? Do you understand my point, sir? You will find people who will claim the same goal, won't you? And God on their side, won't you?
I understand your point.
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks very much for your call. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 in your singular wireless. You and me together until 4:30 today, Red Sox time. If you'd like to hop on the line, you may do so right now.
You're listening to Dave Kane on WPRO. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 on the singular wireless system.
Hi, sneak out to Woonsocket, where Gil awaits on WPRO. Hi, Gil.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Usually don't say, okay, you did it, you're writing everything. You made a corporate statement a while ago, you are right on the money. And you say, all they're looking for us to be scared, get under the cover, and forget about wait until they do the next dastardly act.
That's right.
So we cannot be scared. We cannot tell. We must be sure what we're going to do. And once we know exactly who they are, where they are, go and get it, clean them up, and get out.
Yeah, and also I think that, finding, as the president has said, finding those people who support them, allow them to breathe, allow them, I'll hold your coat while you go do this.
Right.
Let's blow up the coat room.
I agree with you there. But you have to be careful. And again, you said something else. Sometimes, talk show used to say something to bring people out of where they are.
No, let me tell you something, Gil. I never say anything I don't believe.
Yeah, but I got it. I've been here listening to you for a little while. So, right. We got to make sure that we not put everybody on their blanket, umbrella.
Yes, of course. Where are you from, Gil?
Originally, I'm from Cuba, but I've been here a long time.
From Cuba, okay.
And I'm here by choice, and I love every minute. And this is the Americans are one of the most resilient people. We will pass this too. So we will not lose. This is something that we had to do. We will do it when it has to be done. and we would do the right thing at the right time.
Thank you, Gil.
Good luck.
Bye-bye now. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 in your singular wireless. We have time for you to be on the radio. If you'd like to talk, we'd love to hear from you. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 in your singular wireless. We'd like to get you on the line and make you happy. We only have about 15 minutes left. We're going to be going to Red Sox. Baseball. Baseball has been very, very good to me. We're going to go to Red Sox at 4:30. Ernie's in North Providence on WPRO. Hi, Ernie.
How you doing, Dave?
Good.
I don't normally call radio stations, but I just think what the best thing to do is, like, say Allah living across the street, rather than condemn him, I think you're better off to get to know him. You know what I mean? And
yes, sir.
Try to get information. If you condemn him, he's not going to want to be your friend either. And I think the best way to do it is, rather than condemn that person for the way they look, is try to get to know them, see what they're going to do.
Yeah, there's an old song, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
That's right.
And listening, you'd be surprised how we find out we're more alike than different.
That's right. If they're going to hide from you if you're going to threaten them.
Of course.
But if they are a terrorist group or whatever, and you're their friend, you might get a secret from them, and then you could turn that over to the authorities.
All right. Thank you, Ernie. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alan's in Warwick on WPRO. Hi, Alan.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
Yes, sir.
First-time caller.
Yay.
Listen, I was wondering, who feeds these Arab countries with the oil? The United States, right?
Who what?
Who feeds the money? Who feeds these people in there?
Well, we buy our oil from them. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, without their oil, what else? What other kind of resource do they have?
Well, that's enough.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's enough though.
Right, but I mean, if we got $40 billion to pump into this war, there's got to be another $40 billion to try to eliminate our need of oil.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that's going to come out of this, I think, Alan, is our reassessment of our resources and our vital resources. I think that's going to be one of the residuals of all of this. I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, I think the people should become not isolationist country, but as far as let's depend on ourselves.
Yep. You're right. We got to start drawing our own resources.
Right.
But somewhere in the middle, we don't want to destroy our ecology. This is the problem, the balance therein. We don't want to be destroying our ecology either, but on the other hand...
That's what I'm saying, though. Why do we have these big SUVs? Everybody don't care if they spend $50 at the pump every time they go.
Well, it's America, man. You shouldn't have to worry about it. We should figure a way to be able to afford it.
Americans got to start being Americans instead of just who cares and just pump money into these places, and then they're destroying us from within.
All right, Alan, thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Glenn's in Brighton on WPRO.
You're a schmuck.
Thank you. How are you?
Pretty good. Wanted to talk about how I hope free speech doesn't suffer.
Yes.
During this thing, because without getting into specifics of it, I mean, a lot of people are calling for the firing of Bill Maher for something.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
And I mean, it's one thing if the network wants to do that, that's one thing, or if the sponsors pull out. But I mean, I'm hearing callers say there should be a law that during the time of crisis you can't criticize a country.
How horrible! What a frightening thought. This is the key right here. This is the one big number here they are going to accomplish.
Yeah.
If they, I mean, that is so horrible.
I know.
It's bad enough we have rules on the books now, laws on the books about inciting to riot. And for instance, if I were to say something on the air that could be, warranted with causing people to run on Sears Roebuck or something, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and that is a tough one. Somewhere in the middle is the truth again on that one.
Right.
Yeah. What else?
No, I just wanted to tell everybody to keep their ears on. And my mother used to always tell me to think before I speak. I know last week you told me my pauses drive you crazy. It's because I'm thinking before I'm speaking.
I know it. Well, you know what? It takes you too long to think. Write it down. Make a note. You know what I mean? I want to...
Whatever.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, good. Thanks. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Yeah, I took Len to task. I guess it was last week. This is a long point. See, the problem is this is a talk radio show, and I got to keep the thing moving. I have other calls, and I have commercials to get in, and I've got to keep the show hopping, you see. Plus the fact that I have ADD, and I'm a very short study. You understand? Huh? Okay, good. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 and your singular wireless. You and me together. We have about 9 minutes left if you'd like to hop on the line. The Red Sox will be on the air, and I invite you to join us for that. Keep it tuned right where it is, and we'll see to it that that you get on the air with what you've got to say in the meantime, okay? Here's Louise in East Greenwich. Hey, where you been?
Oh, I've been here listening to you.
Oh, my heavens. I haven't heard from you in months.
Well, I thought I'd better tell you I haven't slipped down that banana field yet.
Oh, not yet, huh? Wow.
I'm only 88. Am I your oldest caller?
No. I don't even keep track of ages.
Well,
Besides, you wouldn't turn me down, would you?
Of course not.
No, of course not. 88, what the hell? What's up, babe?
Nothing much. I just been listening. I just wanted to tell you I'm still listening. It's the chance I get. Sometimes I get cross with you, but...
Well, good. But you should call up and let me know.
I should, yeah.
You should check in. You know, you're like the guy that goes to a wife-swapping party stag. All right, honey?
All right.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Still going to sneak you in here and get you on. We've still got a couple more minutes left if you'd like to hop on the line. Here's Richard in Providence on WPRO. Hi, Rich.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Is this the radio?
Let me look. Yes, it is.
Oh, fantastic. I would like to tell you, I came to the country in 1972. I came from Sanikistan. 1972, I become American citizen.
Yeah.
And I have very certain that the Sanikistanis have never supported Osama bin Laden, and that the American people are very courageous and very great, and I hope that the Sanikistanis and the Afghans can become one peaceful country, and I'm very proud to be American, and I thank you very much.
Now, wait a minute. Tell me where your country is. What part of it?
It is the most northern part of Afghanistan.
And the proper pronunciation of the name is what?
Sanigistan.
Sanigistan.
Yes.
Okay, and this is the most northern part. Now, tell me a little bit about, just for a moment, if I can, tell me a little bit about that area. There are many different peoples in there, aren't there?
Oh, there's many.
Yes.
In Afghanistan alone, there is so many. But the Sanigistanis have never supported Osama bin Laden or the Taliban. We are against the Taliban. The Taliban, no. We don't want them.
All right. Well, I'm glad you called, sir, and thanks for coming and helping America be great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. They're everywhere. You're damn right they're everywhere. They're everywhere because they should be. This is America. There's room for all types. Right? And therefore, we keep our borders secure, but those who are here legally and with citizenship, who show themselves to be, well, I would like to see natural Americans be. You know, the trouble comes when you have, quote, naturalized citizens, people born in this country who don't represent themselves very well, who don't carry themselves very well, who don't really offer much. But because they were born here, somehow they're better. I'll take my chances with somebody that comes to this country and shows they have what it takes. I'll take my chances with somebody that may not look just like me, may not have the same skills, may not have the same religion, may not have the same background. May see things slightly differently. Maybe Wouldn't be someone that I initially would maybe even talk to. Just nod your head and keep walking. There's one thing we all have in common, is that we are all people. Our backgrounds are different. Our lifestyles are different. Our families are different. But the core, the basics, are there. We can't be giving up on each other. We can't be giving up on our country. And we can't be giving up on the people who have come to this country from another land to make their contribution. Certainly to take advantage of the opportunities in this country. Certainly. Nothing wrong with that. But you need to remember that every one of these people, every single one of them, who are law-abiding citizens who have done nothing to harm anyone, they bring some wonderful qualities to the table, some wonderful talents, some tremendous experiences from which you and I can live, experiences from which we can learn, experiences that will make us better people if we'd open our ears and shut our mouth for 5 minutes and be educated. That is what makes America beautiful. That is what makes us who we are. Not those people that came over on the Mayflower and born here and white bread. Far be it. Not that they haven't made a wonderful contribution, too. Not that they haven't founded a great place. But certainly the others. The people who added to the mix. They're the ones we can be proud of. Along with you and with me, we open our hearts, and God knows what our reward will be. So do yourself a favor. Stand back and rethink your thoughts. Examine your heart. Get in there and take out the fear. And stand up, America. Smile. Learn to laugh. Get out and spend some bucks. The damage done to this country will be determined by you and your response. Remember that in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. Thanks very much for being with me. I'll see you again tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, may the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. And my thanks to Magic Wand for his help. God bless America. The Red Sox are next on WPRO Providence.